Welcome to Technability. I'm Berge. Thank you guys for watching. Before I get to what we're going to get to today, check out my channel, guys, for a really cool contest to win smartphone accessories. It's free. There's absolutely no strings attached. All you got to do is subscribe and you'll have a chance to win some really cool accessories of your choice. It's contest number 1. It's under my page. Check it out. And if you guys have any questions in relation to the contest, go ahead and message me and I'll enter you guys right away. Alright, so what we have here is we have 3 of the top consumer phones in the market today. We have the Note 2, which of course is a really popular phone. You guys know all about the Note 2. In the middle we have the HTC One, which of course you guys know about the HTC One. It's HTC's bread and butter, their flagship phone. And on the right hand side you have the iPhone 5. And the iPhone 5, as you can see, is running on iOS 7, which is the latest and greatest. The HTC One in the middle is running on 4.2.2 with Sense 5, which is the latest and greatest. And on the left with the Note 2, you're running on 4.2.2 stock Android, which is the latest and greatest. So that's what's unique about this video here, guys, is we have 3 of the most high-end phones for each respective manufacturer. Maybe not in the case of Samsung, because you do have the S4, but the Note 2 is right there with it, guys, and I don't care what anybody says, the Note 2 is still a very high-end phone and a top 5 phone in the world today. So let's go through the specs. With the iPhone, you have I believe it's clocked in at 1 gigahertz or 1.2 gigahertz, Apple dual-core A6 chip. It's got a triple-core PowerVR GPU. It's running on a Giga RAM, which is really the standard for iOS, because you don't need much more RAM. To run iOS, it's just optimized that much better. Has really good GPU acceleration. And you have a 4-inch display. It's Retina, 326 pixels per inch on a 960 by 640 resolution. In the middle, you have the HTC One, which is a 1.7 gigahertz Snapdragon 600 quad-core processor. 2 gigs of RAM. Internal memory is 32 and 64 gigs. Oh yeah, the iPhone comes in 16, 32, and 64. The HTC One is 32 and 64 gigs. No external memory. Cannot remove the battery. Similar to the iPhone, it's one unibody build. It's got a 4.7-inch Super LCD IPS display with a ridiculous pixel density of 468 ppi. It's a 1080p full HD screen. On the left hand side, you have the Note 2, which is a 1.8 gigahertz quad-core processor. It's an Exynos. It's running on 2 gigs of RAM. It comes in 16 and 32 gigabytes. Not sure if it comes in 64, but in any case, it's expandable memory and a removable battery. And that's the thing with the Note 2. That's the thing with these Samsung phones, is a lot of people always talk about the build quality. Well, in my opinion, first of all, and we'll get to this, this is where we're going to get right now, the Note 2 doesn't have bad build quality, guys. It's sturdy. It feels good. It's not too lightweight, which is actually a good thing in my opinion. It's not flimsy. It's not loose. It doesn't get loose because you can remove the backplate. And best of all, considering it already has a really big 3100 milliamp battery, which generates fantastic battery life, you can remove the battery. You can have an extra battery with you at all times. Or you can add storage. You can add memory, which is, again, something that you don't get with phones these days. As you can see, a lot of these manufacturers, Nokia, HTC, LG, Motorola, and of course Apple, they've gone the route of internal memory and no expandable storage. And of course you got the unibody builds with the HTC and the iPhone. Samsung has continued to innovate the market by releasing products that not only appease to the consumer with the build quality, but at the same time they still give you the option to remove the battery and add storage. And the great thing about that is, guys, is that people always complain about the fact that it's quote-unquote plastic, yet they still buy it in drones. I mean, you got people waiting in line for these phones. So the Note 2, very popular phone, and I got to give it up to Samsung. They continue releasing these products that people buy and they're happy with. So that's that. So what are we going to do today, guys? What's the comparison here? Well, you saw the hardware on the Note 2. Let's just go ahead and move that aside, and let's go ahead and look at the HTC One here. Of course, you got the unibody. It's called Zero Gap. Apparently, it takes them a long time to make this phone, but in any case, it is Zero Gap. It's very tight knit. It's got a great metal build. It's a beautiful looking phone. Front-facing speakers looks similar to what you get here with the iPhone. If you look at the back of the iPhone, it looks similar to the front of the HTC One. It's a unibody build on the iPhone. Non-removable battery, of course. You know about that. 4-inch display. You got the power button on the front. With the HTC One, you got the home button on the right, which confuses people at first. Get used to it, guys. You get the back button as well, and on the Samsung, you have what's similar to the iPhone with the power button in the middle, but you also get the back button and the menu button right here, which is generally standard Android buttons, or was at least in the past. Now, of course, you have 3 very different operating systems. Now, of course, you have Android running on the One and the Note 2, but on this side, you have Paranoid Android. This is stock Android 4.2.2. Basically, you can see you have the stock notification bar, you have the stock quick settings, you have the stock app drawer. This is not a launcher. This is the actual ROM, and you have the settings here on the Note 2, which is stock S, except you get this tablet form. This is customizable. There's different themes here. There's different hybrid properties. You can see right there, hybrid properties. You could change that to customize it to your liking. Obviously, you get developer options. If you go to About Phone, you got 4.2.2, so it's Jelly Bean indeed. And over here, you have Sense 5, which is running on 4.2.2. So this is the latest and greatest for the HTC One, which is, you know, what a lot of people are waiting for in terms of the OT update. This is Android Revolution 10.3. It's created by Mike 1986. You can find that on XDA, or check out my other video showcasing this specific ROM. And of course, here you have iOS 7, which is running on an iPhone. What else but an iPhone? Now, let's go ahead and look at the multitasking for all of these devices. Okay, double click home on the one, hold the power button on the Note, and double click here on the iPhone, and you get the multitasking for all three different platforms. Well, two different platforms technically. Okay, so with the stock Android on the Note 2 here, you just got to swipe away, you get rid of the active apps, right? Okay. On the HTC One, you swipe up, you get rid of the active apps. Okay. And now, as you can see with what the iPhone has done, is they've taken that swiping technology and they've applied it to their multitasking. You can see right here, guys. And I got to give it up to Apple, man. This is smooth. And mind you, you don't have to just swipe up one. You could swipe up two at the same time. Okay, you could swipe up three at the same time. So that's really cool, something you can't do with the stock build or Sense 5 here on Android. Minor thing, but still, it's there. Now, one thing that I'm not too content with on iOS 7 and specifically the iPhone is the notification bar hasn't really been updated. It's the same, it's just transparent now. It looks a little better. You got this all tabs missed today, and Siri reads back your messages and your Hangout messages, text, etc., which is really cool. But the functionality hasn't changed. And I'll give you an example. If I go to text messages here, okay, let me just go ahead and send a text to the one. Okay. So I just sent the HTC One a text. Now, if I was to send that text to the iPhone, it would show up here as a notification. Give me that little X, and I can X out. Okay. Now, with the HTC One and with stock Android here on the Note 2, if I swipe down, well, it's not going to show up on the on Sense. But watch, if I reply to him right now, okay. So I'm going to reply. Now watch what will show up on the Note 2's notification bar. And if you've had stock Android, then you know all about this. Alright, reply, read, and call. It gives you those three options. Really awesome feature. Really awesome feature. I wish that the iPhone added that because, again, it's changing the functionality of it. Yes, it's great that they added this center, this quick center right here, these toggles on the bottom. But at the same time, obviously, we've had that here with Android. You could see the quick settings on 4.2.2, and of course the quick settings here on stock 4.2.2. But you can see right here, I could reply, and a pop-up shows up, and I could just reply directly from here. Just reply back with hey. So it minimizes having to click here and click there and go here and go there, which is really cool. And basically, the idea behind iOS 7 is to go minimalist. And you could see right here with the One and the Note 2, it's pretty minimal. They haven't really gone with the whole skeuomorphics. Is it as minimal as Windows Phone 8? No, absolutely not. Now, of course, you have similar Maps apps. You have Maps here, Maps here, Maps here. All three are Google Maps. I'm not using Apple Maps here as an example. Or this might be Apple Maps, I'm not sure. Actually, is it Apple Maps? Okay, we want Google Maps. Yeah, there you go. Pinch zoom on all of them is smooth. Pinch zoom, so really smooth, works well. You can see Safari here, the browser. You got the browser here, you got the browser here. Okay, let's just go ahead and load whatever I had here. It's just loading gadget here. You can see the three respective browsers. Safari, WebKit, right? They're all WebKit technically. Safari pinch zoom has always been really, really smooth. It's definitely responsive, immediate to your touch. The one thing that I don't like about Safari is that if you keep, you got to swipe and swipe and swipe to go down to the bottom of the screen. Whereas with Android, if you just kind of swipe hard, takes you wherever you need to go. So, but pinch zoom again, smooth. You can see it's definitely very smooth. I'm not sure if I could pinch on Engadget. No, but on the Note 2, it's just as smooth as the other two. So the browsers on all of them, fantastic. The tabs here on the Note 2 on stock Android are up here. The tabs here with the HTC One are right here. And the tabs here now with the iPhone are similar to what you get with Chrome. If you go to Chrome here and you go to the tabs, right, and I add a tab and I add another tab, you can see they're similar. Similar looking tabs. This one just has like a little 3D effect. I could swipe them away, swipe, swipe, swipe. So they took that similar look that you get with Chrome and applied it here on Safari. So you know, there's a lot of other things to go through. I mean, we go through settings here. There's 3 settings for all 3 respective phones. You got obviously the tablet-like settings here on the Note 2. You got the HTC One settings here, which you have that little inertia effect, that little rubber band effect, and the beginners of the inertia effect, the iPhone with their new settings on iOS 7. Let's see how fast it is to exit out of an app here. I always use that as a measuring stick. So let's see, Note 2 and iPhone, right? Let's go ahead and exit an app. Okay, so about the same time. Now let's try Note 2 here. Oops. Alright, so you know, whatever, similar in many respects. Alright, so let's look at the camera here on all 3 devices. Okay, so camera on the iPhone 5 is a is an 8 megapixel. A really good camera on the iPhone 5. We could just go ahead here and take a picture, show you guys what it looks like. Immediate, okay. And then we have the HTC One, which is kind of the wild card because it's a 4 megapixel, but it's an ultra pixel camera. So it's got a really cool technology to where the pictures come out a little more a little wider in many ways, but let's take a picture. Okay, and you can see also you could just hold it, take multiple pictures. Okay, and here we have a 13 megapixel camera on the Note 2, or I believe it's an 8. I take that back. It's an 8 megapixel camera. The S4 is a 13 megapixel. You can see. Okay, you know what? It's taking HDR photos. Let's change that. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go back. Let's fix that and remove HDR. All right, there we go. So take a picture. Super fast, super responsive, good quality pictures. Now let's go ahead and look at those 3 photos that we took. Okay. Okay. Alright, so you can see the color calibration on all of them. The HTC One's got a 1080p display, so photos may look a little more cleaner. Of course, you have the Retina display here. Saturation on the iPhone 5 camera. Let's just go look at it close up here. You can see the rim. The contrast is good. You can see on the Note 2. Again, good contrast. You got a Super AMOLED display, so it's of course going to generate good contrast. And here with the One, the contrast isn't as it's not as prevalent, but it's still really good quality, even for a 4 megapixel, quote unquote ultra pixel. So all 3 pictures look really good. The front-facing camera on all of them are pretty similar. I still got to give the edge to the iPhone in terms of front-facing camera. It's just got a little bit of a niche there. Now in terms of folders, if I take the Play Store and I put it here, I've created a folder. If I take this and put it here, created a folder. If I take this, put it here, created a folder. Now the difference with iOS 7 is that the folders are much, the animations now are nice. They're different than before. You can see right here if I click on a folder, got that nice looking animation. Here it's not really much of an animation, but gets the job done. Same with Android, gets the job done, and that's really the whole point, is you just want to kind of get to where you're getting and get out. Siri. So let's go ahead and look at Siri and look at Google Now here. Okay, so where is Google Now? Alright, so if we swipe up. Tell me the weather.
It's 75 degrees.
It's 79 degrees and clear in Glendale.
Tell me the weather. Siri. Oh. Siri's acting up. Well, it's beta, guys, so let's, you know, take it for what it's worth, but let's just go ahead and look at these 2 Google Now beasts right here. Navigate to Pasadena, California.
Navigating to Pasadena, CA.
Who is the President of the United States?
Barack Obama is the President of the United States of America.
What is 3 times 3 minus 2 times 6 minus 8 to the 3rd power?
The answer is minus 515.
The answer is.
Ah, they both got the same answer. That's really cool. Props to that. What else can we ask it? Let's see. Set reminder for 10 p.m. Hey. I don't know what kind of reminder that is, but hey. There you go. Setting reminders. Let's try something else here. Open Play Store.
Opening app.
There you go. Opens the app for you guys. Okay. You can see the widgets here. This is the stock Android clock widget. This is the HTC widget. You get that weather app that has that really cool animations. With the iPhone, obviously, you could put weather here on the notification center. And here's our weather app, a little bit different than what it used to be. Let me show you guys something that's really cool here with the browser. So with the browser now, what you could do is you could just swipe away. Like let's say I go to Engadget, right? I didn't spell it right, but let's just go to Engadget here. Okay, let's say I click here on Engadget and I want to go back to where I was on Google. I just swipe here to the left and it takes me back to the website. So gesture-based, that gesture-based feature is really awesome. Again, an added little touch that they put here on iOS. Calculator apps, I don't know if you guys really care about the calculator apps. We could look at the dialer here. Let's just make sure that I don't have any numbers showing. Okay. Fail there. Fail on my part. Hold on. Okay. Alright. So here you have the dialer on Sense 5. Here you have the dialer on stock Android. And here you have the dialer on iOS 7. Okay. 0000000. All of them responsive, work to the T, beautiful. Okay. Here's the thing, guys, with these three operating systems, and specifically with Android versus iOS, which is a debate that'll go on for years. The gap is so tight now in terms of their comparability. They're so comparable in many ways. A lot of the high-end apps, yes, they still come to iOS first because there's that statistic that shows that people that have an iPhone will purchase apps more likely than people with Android. But with the market share that Android has and with the progression that Google has made with the OS, it's really great how close these two operating systems have come in terms of functionality, usability, and just overall ease of use. And I know a lot of people used to complain that Android's complicated. I don't think it's complicated whatsoever. Here you have Blink Feed, of course. I think Android is very easy to use. Yes, it has a slight learning curve. I mean, but so does the iPhone, guys. Especially with iOS 7, it may not be as familiar to people as iOS 6 and iterations prior. I'm sure there was a lot of things I didn't cover here, but in any case, you guys want to look at the calendar apps. Let's look at the calendar apps, actually, since we're in here. Where is the calendar? Oh, that's calculator. Alright, so of course, again, the iPhone's gone with a minimalist look, which you've had on Android for a while now. You could see on the HTC One, month to month, and you could change that by week, etc. You can add an event by tapping here on the bottom. Okay, and with the iPhone, of course, you have its new looking calendar app. You didn't have in previous. I don't know what that was. And here you have the stock Android calendar, which is very, very simple and minimal. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the keyboards here on all three devices, and we could do that by just going to. I keep doing that by going there, by just going to Google now. Google search, actually. Search. Alright, so the iPhone, when you get to the messaging app, the keyboard's changed. It's white now. Okay, responsive, super responsive. I still think iOS has kind of a shoddy autocorrect system, but it's solid, great for day-to-day use. With HTC, you're going to get the stock HTC one. You can also download the Google one in the Play Store. It's free. And here you have the stock Google keyboard, which I like the most here on the Note 2 because I just like that sound. It just feels real good to the touch, super responsive. The autocorrect on the stock Android keyboard, in my opinion, is really the best of the best. It tops everything else, and it may be a personal opinion, but it is my opinion, and I'm gonna stick by it. Alright guys, I know again there's a lot of things I didn't cover, but I just wanted to show you guys the three separate operating systems here in person next to each other. All three phones, of course. Note 2, HTC One, and iPhone 5. The video's gone on for 20 minutes now, so I'm going to cut it off. Thank you guys for watching Technability. I'm Berge. Keep looking out for my channel and subscribe for contests to win awesome, cool smartphone accessories. Check me out at technability.com. It's under construction. We'll be up soon. Going to have some cool interactive features on it, guys, so check it out. Thank you guys for watching.